Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is of Sashes&Scripts, and today we will be talking about updates, rumors on national and international pageants this 2022. So stick around and stay tuned. But before we begin, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notifications bell, and be updated on pageant-related content. Okay, so first things first, nauna lang nag-announce ang Miss Universe Philippines that their national pageant, their competition will be on April this year. And that means that karamihan ng mga gustong sumali sa Miss Universe Philippines is naghahanda na ngayon sa kanilang pagsabak sa national na pageant. And as far as I know, even the accredited partners of the Miss Universe Philippines pageant is naghahanda na ng kanilang mga kanilang pambato for the national title. Another update that I wanted to talk about is the Miss Universe pageant for the 2022 edition. Now, I think that everyone has already been informed the fact that Itay Kadosh, a photographer with the Eshkoli Productions, who produced the Miss Universe in Israel earlier last year, had mentioned that the possible venue for the 70th edition of the Miss Universe pageant is going to be in France. However, we also have a interview. We've also seen an interview with the Puerto Rican governor, Pedro Pierluisi, mentioning that he wants to bring the Miss Universe pageant in Puerto Rico either in 2022 or in 2023. So that means that there's a possibility na mangyari ang pageant in Puerto Rico, if that's one of the things that the governor is wanting to do in order to increase tourism to the island. That I think is a bigger possibility dahil alam naman natin na ang WAPA TV is a very well connected and a very strong na organization who is also not only backing the possible hosting, but also is the major force for the Miss Universe Puerto Rico pageant. And we all know that Puerto Rico has been doing well in the Miss Universe pageant. They have, since WAPA TV have taken over the Miss Universe Puerto Rico franchise, yung mga kandidatang pinapadala nila hindi nawawala sa top 20, top 5, or even top 10 of the Miss Universe pageant. And I think that if in case na matuloy ang hosting sa Puerto Rico, it would be a great boost for the image of the island, especially that Latin America is a very very engaged community when it comes to pageantry. I don't mind if the pageant is going to be held in France, in Paris, or in Puerto Rico, pero I think mas malaki yung chances na bumalik siya sa Puerto Rico simply because there is a fan base there. There is a community na willing to support the organization there as compared to France. As we all know naman, Europe is not generally a very pageant-friendly na continent. Hindi naman sila ganun ka crazy about pageantry. So I am most likely to believe that mas pwedeng mangyari ang pageant in Puerto Rico. Of course, we also wanted na sana maganap yung pageant in other countries like Costa Rica, who also tried to bid for the pageant to happen in their country. And we're just waiting for further announcements or further updates on that front. But for now, I think it's a great idea na mangyari ang pageant either in Puerto Rico or in France. Although I think mas may bias ako with Puerto Rico this time around. Now, as for Binibining Pilipinas, what we've heard about Binibining Pilipinas is that ang pageant is most likely going to happen after the national elections. Ayaw nilang sumabay sa very chaotic and very hectic na schedule ng national elections. Magkakaroon kasi ng hati sa attention ng mga tao between the national elections versus the pageant itself. But let's wait for updates kung kailan sila magsasabi ng kanilang application at kailan sila mag-start with their screening na process. With that being said, we've also heard since since victory, victory na press con ni na Maureen Montaigne and Cindy Obenita, that it is most likely that the pageant is going to be held sometime around June or July this year. So that means that medyo mas mahaba yung preparasyon ng mga candidates who wants to, to compete in Binibining Pilipinas this year. But that also means that medyo maikli yung kanilang prep time for the international competitions later on. But, as tulad nga nung nabanggit ni Maureen Montaigne, in one of our interviews with her, that, preparing for Binibining Pilipinas is like preparing for an international competition itself, because unlike international pageants, ang Binibining Pilipinas, umaabot ng around 2 to 3 months long yung kanilang pre-pageant activities, and that really trains, discipline sa mga kandidatang sasabak for Binibining Pilipinas. And that is why, if you look at the our candidates na isinabak internationally in 2021, karamihan sa kanila really are very well prepared for their international tales. Then that's why nakapagtala tayo ng 2 wins, care of Cindy and Maureen. Now, there are also rumors that it is possible that there will only be 3 titles this year. Binibining, and that's, Binibining Pilipinas Globe, Binibining Pilipinas Intercontinental, and Binibining Pilipinas Grand International. With that being said, merong nakapagsabi sa amin about this na medyo may katungkulan din sa pageant itself. But I do not want to discount that there is still a possibility na magkaroon tayo ng Binibining Pilipinas International, because someone who is in the know, someone who is very well connected, also mentioned to me last year that the Miss International competition is trying to have their pageant sometime between the first and second quarter of this year. That means that if in case na makapag-compete si Hannah Arnold for Miss International earlier in the year, there is also a possibility na magkakaroon tayo ng 4 na titles for Binibining Pilipinas later in June or July. So magandang pag-usapan na possibility ito, because it is more likely that magkakaroon pa rin tayo ng 4 titles for Binibining Pilipinas this year. Earlier, nakita naman natin sa isang Instagram post that the Miss International said that there are already 46 candidates that is confirmed for this year's edition. And marami sa atin nakapag-comment na finally nagalaw din ang baso. And that means that if they are, already in the process of, confirming the candidates for their 2020 second edition, it probably means na there are some truths to the possibility na pwedeng mangyari ang Miss International pageant earlier this year. And that would be a great thing, because finally makikita na natin na makapag-compete si Hannah. And we all know that Hannah Arnold is one of the girls that we are really rooting for the Miss International pageant. I think that yung rumors that she, alongside Vicky Rushton and Maureen Montaigne and 2 other girls are among the favorites of the organization, among the roster of the candidates for Binibining Pilipinas 2021. It means na malaki din ang laban, o malakas din ang laban natin for the Miss International title. And what really gets me excited about this is that finally makita rin natin na makoronahan ang susunod ng Miss International after postponing their pageant, for 2 years now. And I think ang mga fans gusto na rin na makapag-move on with the Miss International pageant, because they've already announced that they don't want to have a virtual competition, and therefore the only way for them is to move forward with a live na pageant. And it's, understandably so, because ang Miss International is very rooted with their traditions, with the Japanese culture, and therefore you really need to have a hands-on experience with, their tourist spots, their tea ceremony, their ikebana, arrangement activity, and all of those, tourist and culture related na mga pre-pageant activities ng Miss International na pageant. And it would also probably, give us an excitement sa mga fans na makita natin na posible na maiuwi ni Hannah yung Miss International title this year. And that would mean that among the 4 Binibining Pilipinas queens, 3 sa kanila may corona na ipapasa in the nationals later, which is probably happening in June or July. So I think those are the updates na gusto kong maibigay sa inyong lahat. I know that, medyo late yung mga updates na ito because I've tried as much as possible to be very careful sa mga inilalabas kong mga information, especially if these information are coming from, really well-connected and really high-ranking officials of the pageants. So I hope na if in case na matuloy ang Miss International pageant earlier this year, I really wish Hannah, the best in the competition because I really want another Miss International crown for the Philippines. So I hope na nasiyahan kayo sa episode na ito. I hope na yung mga ibang agam-agam medyo na liwanagan at this point in time. And I hope na itong susunod na pageant season is going to be a season na mas magaan ang dating, mas magaan ang pasok. That's it from me, guys. I hope to see you in our next video. And if you're not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and let's grow the community together. So see you again soon. Bye and take care, everyone.